Hello, my name is Mary, and I am a Mary Stitcher here on YouTube and also on Instagram. And it's New Year's Eve, so I thought I'd pop on for my last video of the year and talk about a couple of finishes, a new start, and a whip, and whatever else comes to mind at this point. So first of all, I have a finish on the Modern Folk Embroidery Christmas Countdown. Don't have a picture of the completed item because that's not the way it came. What I do have, if I don't show you the back, there we go. This is my finished piece. So it really was a lot of fun to stitch this every day, and it wasn't difficult to keep up, so that was great because I sometimes have a difficult time keeping up with Sal's. I think a lot of people probably do. Anyway, so that is finish number one. Finish number two, I left in the Q-snap just so you could see it a little better, is of Nora Corbett's Holly, which I really like. It's my first fancy lady ever. And she is complete. Really, last time you saw her, she was complete except for the beading. But since this was my first time beading a cross-stitch piece, it was a little bit of a bumpy ride. So, but she's done. I'm very happy about that. And I will have another fancy lady to go into this year's Sal with Memphis Sarah E., which is her So Fancy B-Day Sal, I think is what it was called. And she's one of my chief enablers when it comes to Mirabilis. And in fact, it was Sarah and Lisa from Cross by Floss that huddled together around me at StitchCon in 2022 and showed me how wonderful stitching Mirabilias and other fancy lady charts could be. I had pretty much thought, maybe I won't do those. I have other things I'm interested in. But I'll tell you, it's pretty addictive when you see some of the finishes like we saw on the brag tables. And when Lisa talked to me about some of the ones she had going, it was really quite inspiring. And while it took me a little while to actually take the plunge, I did join in on last year's So Fancy B-Day Sal for Sarah's birthday. So that was exciting. So those are my two finishes. Now I have an almost finish that's technically a whip, and that is my temperature Sal, because of course this being the last day of the year, it can't quite be a finish until we know what the high temperature was for the day. Now, I will still get it finished this year because after sundown, it very seldom warms up in the part of Pennsylvania where I live. So pretty much before midnight, I will be able to know what our high temperature was. Anyway, here is my chart, and you can see there's just that one little day down about here that I need to fill in order for this to be a finish. This is really fun. This particular temperature chart is by Stitching Book Club, and they do a lot of charts that are tie-ins with books, kind of book cover styles, and they get permission sometimes from authors to use different pieces. I know they did a Narnia piece a while back that was really pretty, and they had to get specific permission to use some of the things that they did. So it's really great, but this was really a fun temperature Sal. I like the flowers at the bottom because it just gave it a little something extra, so I'm real excited about that. That will be a finish before midnight tonight, which means 3 finishes since I last spoke to you. Alrighty, now next we have a start. While I was scrolling through Instagram, and of course, how many of our stories about starts happen after we've been scrolling through Instagram and we see something fantastic that someone else has done or is about to do. And Becky, also known as Socks for Mom on Instagram, I'm not sure if she does have a YouTube also. I've watched her YouTubes before. I haven't seen one in a little while, but Becky was talking about doing a Sal for this chart, which is North Pole, oops, hello, glare, there we go, North Pole by Kathy Barrick. Now, the minute I saw this Santa, I knew I was going to have to stitch him. There's just something that's a little bit elegant about him, which is fitting for Kathy Barrick because she's a classy gal. So I was excited to stitch this one anyway. I already had the chart in my queue. And when I read that Becky and a group of her friends were doing a breakdown where they would stitch a certain section every month so that it could be completed with plenty of time to be framed or FFO'd, however someone wants to do it, before next Christmas. And I think the hashtag is, oh my gosh, let's see, the hashtag is hashtag crazy assignment girls. And I guess they've broken up a whole bunch of different charts, and that's sort of the moniker that they've given themselves. But anyway, so she invited people to jump in, and I decided there was no time like the present, so I would go ahead and do it. So anyway, I started this, and the first section that we were supposed to complete is the border. And what I love is that this is a border that doesn't go all the way around. So you don't have to have that moment of crisis where you wonder if your border's going to meet up. And to me, that's a good idea. So this is the border. Now I am just doing this on 20 count Aida. The color is wheat. It's by Fiber on a Whim. And I'm using not very many of the called for, probably not any of the called for, because what I decided to do with my colors was pull from the Roxy Floss Co. flosses that I've accumulated both last year and this year in their Christmas countdown boxes, because there are some gorgeous colors of floss and I wanted to jazz up the red a little bit. I do have a pale red that's kind of got a pinky tone to it that matches what Kathy had done in her chart, but I wanted Santa's coat to have a little more depth to the color. So I went ahead, and 11 of the colors I'm using in this chart are actually Roxy Floss Co. colors. So I'm going to give it a go, use what I have, and we'll see how he turns out. I finished the first month's section, and so as we roll into January, I'll go ahead and jump in and do section number 2. So that's pretty fun. All right, that I think is all of the whips. Yes, it is. That's all this. That's the start, the whips. Because the Temperature Sal was one of my whips, which finished out. Holly, of course, was a whip. So now I'm going to talk about what is new and notable. Some people call this the haul section. Haul just always sounds like kind of a funny word to me. I'm excited about the things that I get when I get something new, or if I get a new chart. Haul just doesn't feel like the word for me. I love delightful deliveries is great. Let's see, Denise from Black Ribbon Stitch Studio. Sorry, Denise. Denise talks about contributions to her future happiness. So I love those terms. And that's really the way it feels when you get a new chart. It's like, man, when I get to stitch that, it's going to be great. So for me, I went online last week to Colorado Cross Stitcher and I ordered Percy Penguin. Sorry, try and cut the glare. And this is by Quaint Rose Needle Arts. And I just like this guy. He's so cute. I have a plan for him, and we'll get into that later when I actually start him. But this is a fantastic penguin. I think he's really great. So that is one of the things that I got. The other chart I ordered isn't new. It's Plum Street Samplers. This is the Day. And I'm not a huge house stitcher, and this of course has a huge house on it. So that's going to be fun. But I liked the variety in the bricks, and the thing that really got me was the little goat. The little goat that's jumping up over, he's over here, yes. This is a tiny little goat jumping over the flowers. I don't know, I got a kick out of that. So this is a cute chart. I will probably edit the verse just a tiny bit Not that I have anything against it, it's just I like to mess around with things and personalize them, so that's probably what's going to happen. Paulette's designs are great though. All right, my other thing that I got in the mail that was fun, not fancy but fun, is a bunch of Little Pony black needles. Now, I've had sort of bad luck with needles. I never got a chance to stitch with Pat Carson needles because I didn't really know anything about them until Pat had passed, sadly, and everybody was squirreling away the needles. I used to use, my other favorite was Mary Arden Petites, little short needles, but I like them a lot. And then I also used John James Petites, again, short needle. I like those. I stitch in hand, and for some reason, I really enjoy them. But if you know, you know, because Mary Arden Petites and John James Petites are no longer available. You cannot find them. You can find other Mary Ardens, you can find other John James needles, but you cannot find the Petites. So having this bad luck, I was like, gosh, I'm afraid to fall in love with these ponies. But the ponies, if you look, they're kind of short. They don't say they're petite, but they really are petite. And these are the Pony Blacks. You can't really see them very well in here. But I went online to Starlight Stitchery and got a bunch because I don't want to stop being able to get a needle once I really decide I like it. And I do like these a lot. The eye in these is a little more sturdy because there must be something weird about the way I grip my needle when I sew. But I tend to flex the eye and it gets a little curve in it, and sooner or later after using it, you snap one side of the eye of your needle and it's all over. So these have a kind of a different eye. It's a little shorter, but it feels like the little sides on the eyes are a little sturdier, and so I haven't been able to bang through one of those, which is great. So hopefully these will last and be wonderful. Okay, next I will talk about plans, and then at the end I have a surprise. So we're going to go for it. All right, I'm participating again in WIPGO. This is my super cheesy little computer done WIPGO. And I've got all kinds of good stuff on there. My first two WIPGO pulls are Urselia's sampler, which you saw in my last video, and the other is Birds from Bernhardt's books. So that is great, and I'm excited to get to those. There's not really any point to pull them back out. I haven't stitched on either one of those in the last week since I talked to you before. All right, my other big plan is I'm participating in NYE 12 by 12 with Kia B and a bajillion other people. But I'm not going to do 12 starts this year. Last year I did 12 starts, 12 smalls, mind you, or I scheduled 12 and somehow managed to only do 10 of them. The day got away from me, I don't really know. But of those 10, I actually completed 9. And that is the beauty of choosing smalls if you're going to do 12 starts in one day or even 10 starts in one day. So I was really happy about the fact that I had chosen smalls because I completed 9 out of 10 of those charts. So yay. This year, I'm not going to do that many starts. I am going to honor the theme, which is to stitch something out of a magazine or that type of a chart. And I am going to start a chart from a magazine. I think it was the 2022 Christmas edition of Punch, Needle, and Primitive. It's a Barbara Anna chart called Dancer, and I didn't pull it out. Sorry about that. You'll see it as a new start in my next video. Then I'm going to use the rest of the time to stitch on 4, maybe 5 of my whips from 2022, because that's my goal, is to reduce my 2022 whips for the year. I'm also going to do 24 and 24, but that isn't as hectic as it seems, because when I looked back, including those 10 that I started for 12 by 12, I actually had 29 starts last year. Now, I will have had 31 finishes, so I'm in a good place. I have fewer than I started with, and that's great. But I really want to get more of that done this year and make it down, get rid of some more of those 2022s. I know my 2021 Bristol, because she's ginormous, is going to take a little more time. So I'm going to one red thread a day or 2 lengths of thread a day my way through that one and see how far I can get this year. She sat in the corner pretty much all year in 2023, so I don't want to do that again. All right, the big cheese is that I am going to start Modern Folk Embroideries 2024 Sal. I got a lot of Modern Folk Embroideries, but this one, again, I saw it and it was just like, okay, I'm in. Now there's a couple of colorways for this. This is a 2-color chart, the way Jacob has it charted out, and it's really beautiful. On the back of the book, there are some other potential colorways, and they're just all pretty. Each one has its pros and cons for me. What I decided I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch it on Zweigart platinum linen, good old platinum linen. And what's great about this is I needed a big piece because a fat quarter is just a little too small, and I happen to have a fat half of platinum, so that's awesome. I also thought that the platinum would be great for the parts of the chart that show the background. You can see the background shows in the clock face, shows behind the animals, and a little bit up in these bands here. So I wanted to make sure that the background would play well. And when I was trying overdyed fabrics, I found that it looked like the modeling was going to be in weird places in the design. I didn't want it to look not intentional. And I also thought that for the moon phases on the clock, that the platinum had just kind of the right tone for me. So I like that. Now the colors that I've chosen for my floss, I don't know what it is about me. I can't ever leave anything alone. So I'm not doing 2 colors, I'm doing 3 colors. The 2 primary colors that I'm doing are 2 Gloriana silks. Here, I'll show them with the fabric so you can see. So what you've got is Northern Lights, which is a wonderful, a wonderful color. And then Granny Smith green, which isn't as bright as you would think it would be from the name. It's a little bit of an olivey tone, but I like it, and I think it looks beautiful against the fabric, and I think it looks great here. The 3rd color that I am adding in is Gloriana Hazelnut. This will be for the squirrels, the deer, anything that looks tree branchy. So, and the numbers on the clock face. So it's not going to be a big player, but I think that it'll just give a little more depth and it'll look right to me. I like the 3 colors together. They're not super high contrast, but I think because there's going to be so much of them, these will be just beautiful. And I literally cannot wait to start this. I will probably start this at 12:01 tonight because that's how I roll. I'm a late night stitcher. That's when I get time to stitch. So that's it. All right. Now, most floss tubers, when they start out, hit a milestone, and then maybe they'll do a giveaway, a certain number of subscribers and all that. And I want to thank anybody who's coming back for a second time to be with me. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I also want to thank Lisa, Cross by Floss, for her very kind shout out that she gave me in her video yesterday. I was watching her video, I popped onto my phone to make a comment, and right after I posted the comment, I got to the part of her video where she shouted me out, and that was so sweet and kind of her. As an experienced floss tuber, she knows how it is to be somebody new and be a little freaked out about, is anybody going to want to watch what I have to say? Is anybody going to like what I stitch? So bless her heart, she was as nice as she could possibly be. And Lisa, thank you. All right, as my way of thanking you, we're going to do a giveaway. Now, I don't have that many subscribers yet because I'm so new, But what that does is it gives you a better than average chance of winning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I don't know, pass the stash seems like a funny word, but I'm going to pass the stash on this Blackbird Designs chart, Raise a Glass. And this is a really pretty chart. There aren't a lot of New Year's designs, so I think it's kind of cool to have something you can put out in December and leave out after Christmas. Now, this particular one, the way it's designed, it has 2 of these urns full of flowers, which is great. However, because of the way I want to frame mine, I opted to eliminate one of the urns. It's not that I don't like the urns, not that I couldn't have stitched it, it's just frame-wise, I think I'm going to be able to utilize this a little better. So here's my finish, just so you can see the way it turned out. Sorry, it's not ironed. I'm not an ironer. Anyway, so that is the chart, and it's done in almost all the called for. My only regret was this is not a new design, and so die lots change. And what I noticed was that the year is actually stitched in, the 23 for the year is actually stitched into this urn. But it's really kind of hard to see the color. And that's just the breaks of the game. I was not going to frog it out and put a different color in there. As Jean Lee says, always forward, never back. So Jean's right. So if you think that you would like to stitch this, what I need for you to do is, this is a subscriber thank you, so I'd like for you to be subscribed. You absolutely must be 18 years old in order for me to ask you for your address and send you this physical chart. So you must be 18 years old. You must like the video and make a comment about what you want to do in the new year, stitchy-wise. How's that? And if you will use the word cheer, C-H-E-E-R, that'll be great. I'll know you want it. Then that's it. That's all I've got for today. I am doing this a little later than I had hoped to. I am now going to go play catch up on New Year's Eve 12 by 12, but that's okay. And I hope that wherever you are, you enjoy your New Year's Eve in whatever way you want. Stitching, being with family and friends, whatever you like. I hope that you're doing it today because it's a great way to start the new year. And I wish you a wonderful year. I'll be back in about 2 weeks, I think. That way I can get enough stitching done to make it interesting. And thank you very much. I'll see you soon.